Hey guys, Futtbutt here, and I wanted to try something new. I know a lot of people are making guides, but I kind of wanted to do a video about certain matchups, specifically for Tracer and matchups against other heroes. What are her winning matchups? What are her losing matchups? And kind of dissecting a little bit in a basic way overall. Of course, this is not taking into hand team compositions or team comps. Just, hey, if I'm dueling you one-on-one or in general certain situations, how do I do against you? So hopefully you guys like the video. So the first thing we want to talk about before we really get into the nitty gritty of all the characters is that you want to measure distance. Measuring distance is very important. So first there's the long range distance of Tracer, which you'll do if you do a full clip. You'll average around 50 DPS, 40 to 50 DPS. So it'll take a couple of clips, and it's one of her weaker ranges. The training mode is a really good place to kind of measure the distance. The second range, and one of the ranges I prefer for Tracer, is the mid range. She's a healthy distance away. It lets her escape with one blink instead of two, and you can take out someone with 200 health in one clip if you're accurate enough or you're doing a decent amount of damage. The final place is up close and personal. It is the very close range shooting where you're able to do melee hits, which is a great finisher. It's her highest burst, but also her most dangerous area to be located. And sometimes when you need to rush down a healer or go in and put a mine, then yes, this is the place you need to be. And this is how you kind of classify the three ranges that I'll be talking about throughout the video. We'll be going through the heroes alphabetically. So first off, we're going to start with Bastion. Now, Bastion is kind of an interesting thing for Tracer because when he's out of his turret mode, she'll generally win that matchup overall, but generally he won't be. He'll be in his turret mode. So overall, Tracer is a 7-3, Bastion's favor. Bastion will generally win in turret mode. It's kind of hard for her to get in there, especially if he's on a high location and she needs to stick around. He has armor health, and you're generally in a long range or mid range position. Of course, if you get behind him, you'll have the advantage. However, the advantage swings 9-1 in Tracer's favor because she can quickly dash forward and drop a pulse bomb if she has it and E out, and whether he's ulting or not, he'll instantly be killed. So she will win the matchup if she has Pulse Bomb instantaneously because he has a large hitbox and he can't really dodge it. But if she doesn't have Pulse Bomb, she will lose quite heavily and severely to the Bastion. The next character on our list will be Diva. She's quite a taking character and it's really hard for Tracer to take her on when she's in her mech suit, and it's overall 5-5. Tracer is a tank shredder and a tank killer in her kit, but it's really hard to get through that armor, and overall I would say the matchup is more close to a 5-5 when they're fighting in that suit, because Diva over a long period of time can possibly kill the Tracer, but they have to recall, so it's generally a matchup where you're not really going to kill her. As Tracer, you can't really kill the Diva suit, and Diva can't really kill the Tracer, and it's generally just you're not going to get a lot from that confrontation. But when Diva's out of her suit, easily an 8-2 in Tracer's favor. She can quickly take someone out with that low HP, and Diva needs to get a lot of shots in to efficiently take her out. So overall, Tracer should win this matchup. Next on our list is the Ninja Samurai Master Cyborg Genji himself. I would put this also at a 5-5. This is a very close matchup because it determines whoever lands the most hits. If Genji is able to land 3 of his shurikens and he's in a close range, if he melee into animation cancel of his left shift, his dash, he will instantly kill Tracer. But if Tracer is making sure to maintain her distance and is never getting hit by shurikens and stays within the mid range, then generally she'll win the combat. So that's where it comes down to who's in the mid-range, who's landing better hits, and generally, though, it is a very close matchup between these two. I'm not including ultimates in this. This is general. The duel matchup is a very close matchup, and it comes down usually to player skill over random factors. Well, next up is Hanzo, and one of the least favorite and most annoying things as Tracer to play against. I do think Tracer wins this matchup almost a large part of the time, I think it is a 6-4. The problem is if you are close or if you are mid, if he hits you with a headshot, you're dead. If he hits you with an arrow and melees you, you're dead. But you know it's very hard for him to do that. And if you're dashing around, you can quickly and efficiently kill him. I generally like to stay in the close range on this one and just try and jump around him because it's hard for him to move around because he has to slow down when he's charging his shots, which makes him an easy target to hit. So overall, Tracer should win this matchup. Next up is the crazy Junkrat. He is very hard for Tracer to deal with. If he lands one grenade and throws out his landmine, the little crazy man will win that matchup. Generally, I would say it's a 6-4 in Junkrat's favor. He has a lot of AoE, and especially if he's bouncing them around, or he can leap away with his bomb and get on a high ground position. It's just very hard for Tracer to get in there, and especially in narrow corridors, she'll just run into her death. So there's just no real way that she wins it. Of course, there are some places where she can just get in behind him and kill him really fast, or in the mid-range, she'll dodge all the mines, but it's just really hard to do that overall, and I find Junkrat, in my situations and in my point of view, wins more of those trades. Next up is Lucio, and this is a very Tracer-favored matchup. Tracer has a lot of favorable dueling matchups in this game, and specifically against Lucio, I would say this is an 8-2. Lucio just can't do the damage fast enough, and when she recalls, then boom, she gets all her health back, and he loses all of his efficiency. She'll definitely out DPS him in a much faster manner, especially with a melee in it. However, if he has his volume up, then he has a higher chance of surviving. He can right click. He can just try and run away and survive. But yes, it takes a little while sometimes to kill him if you're not completely accurate because he's healing himself. But overall, Tracer should always win this matchup. Next up is Tracer's Bane in this game, and it is the most frustrating thing. Even with the nerfs, he's still quite the contender for Tracer in a dueling matchup. If he flashbangs you and then headshots you, you're instantly dead with his left click. In the long range, she'll generally beat you in the left clicks. Actually, he will always beat you in the left clicks because if he's a good hit scan player, he will generally always win those trades. And even in the mid range, which is Tracer's best chance against the McCree, because she won't get hit by the flashbang, and it's just down to the reliance of who's landing their shots better. Generally, McCree still out DPSs her and wins that trade due to her HP being lower overall. Yes, the nerfs were effective against McCree, and it does give Tracer more of a fighting chance, but still, McCree is slightly superior to her in that specific dueling matchup. Next up is the Mei matchup. Tracer definitely wins this one. I would say this is about a 6-4 or a 7-3 in Tracer's favor. The reason why I say that is it is impossible to freeze Tracer with your left click. Tracer can easily blink away either through you if you try and wall behind her, or if you don't wall behind her, she'll just dash back. The only way that really Mei wins this is if she gets a lucky right click and hits her in the head. That does happen, and as a Tracer player, that can be very infuriating, but most of the time that doesn't happen, and Tracer will eventually shred her down. The reason why I'm putting maybe closer to 6-4 is that Mei's natural HP is a little bit higher, so she can probably survive 1 or 2 clips of Tracer's gun. Now for the Bane of Mercy, which is Tracer. Tracer can easily get to where the Mercy is and just quickly harass her down. This is easily a 9-1 matchup. The only times that I've won as a Mercy against a Tracer, or I see Tracers lose to Mercy, is when there's a couple good headshots by a Mercy Blaster. And Mercy can do 100 damage per second. She shoots 5 rounds per shot per second, and each shot does about 20 damage. But the thing is, you need to be really accurate, and the projectile's pretty slow. Overall, Tracer should win this matchup. She can do 200 damage very quickly with a good melee hit, but it's just tough for Mercy to win this fight overall, and Tracer's just way too fast for her and can quickly shred her down. So 9-1 for Tracer. Now, this is a lot closer matchup than I think a lot of people would expect. I would say Pharah does win this matchup between Tracer on a 6-4. However, a lot of people kind of underestimate the speed of Tracer here. Pharah can win generally because she does have AoE, and it's hard for Tracer to hit her when she's in the sky. But when Pharah's on the ground, and also even on a slow hover, she's within mid-range shooting. And mid-range shooting still does a lot of damage for Tracer. So Tracer can still take out a Pharah in the sky, but it is kind of a struggle for her. But Pharah can't kill Tracer if she's too far away because the missile projectile is a little too slow and it lets Tracer dodge. So I find the matchup to be somewhat close, but if you are close together and she just gets 2 nearby shots, not even direct shots, then you're dead as a Tracer. And it's just overall, I find Tracer to lose slightly more in those matchups, even though it can be very close. Reaper is another really tough matchup for Tracer. He has a left shift to go invincible. Not only that, his HP, 250, makes it even harder for her to kill. Generally, the sweet spot is 200 or 150. Whereas, like, man, I can really kill this guy effectively if we're both dueling each other. But 250 is when the struggle comes in. They can survive extra clips. And Reaper has a lot of very powerful shots within his 8 clips. If he gets a good headshot in the close range, you're dead. Even in the mid-range, which is probably might swap to Tracer's favor, he can still do a lot of damage. And he can quickly get away from her if he chooses to do so. So she can't really like hold him down in most situations, and he can win more matchups overall in my opinion. One of my favorite characters to go against as Tracer is Lord Reinhardt. He of course is an amazing tank and is great in tons of compositions, but if it is just him and I 1v1ing each other in the distance, then it is the easiest thing for Tracer. It is impossible for him to land anything. All of his animations are easy to read for her, so she can quickly dodge. And she is a tank shredder, so she quickly generates ults. She can get behind his shield. He can't really stop her. She'll just quickly and effectively take him down, and he can't do anything. He can't left click her. He can't hit her with his fire strike. He can't charge her. Overall, the only way he can get her is with his Earth Shatter. But that's not a very effective way to use it. And even then, if she is good at reading the opponent, she can dodge the Reinhardt. So 9-1, Tracer's favor. Now, Roadhog is another matchup. Of course, I think Tracer just shreds tanks and is very good against tanks. She can't burst them as quickly as, let's say, a Reaper can kill them, or a Junkrat can shatter them, or even a Roadhog. But she quickly generates her ults by harassing Roadhog. It's easy for her to get headshots. And if she knows when the hook is coming and she just doesn't die to a stray right click, then she'll overall win in the mid-range shooting and quickly whittle him down. And then get an ultimate, which inherently will kill either him or the rest of his teammates because he's easy to stick, or he can just dash on someone else. Tracer is just very nice in this matchup. I feel very safe and comfortable, of course, so due to the wild factors, or if you do get hooked, you are dead by getting hooked. I would say this is a 7-3. It's not like he's helpless compared to Reinhardt, who can't just do anything. He can actually fight back. Now, Soldier 76 is another character that Tracer really, from what I notice, struggles with, because if he has ulti, you're dead. But even outside of that, if he lands a good right click on the ground, you're practically dead because it does 120 damage. And if you're just landing, if you're doing good burst fire, he'll win the mid-range and he'll win the long range. However, this is a matchup that if you are Tracer, you need to get close range and hopefully burst him down, because he can heal himself back up, and you are in trouble if you do not kill him quick enough, because the longer the fight goes on, the worse it is for Tracer, and you just need to quickly kill him or it's an automatic loss in that matchup. This is definitely, I would say, a 7-3 in favor in Soldier 76. She can burst him down because he does have 200 HP, but overall, Soldier wins more of these matchups. Symmetra utterly gets destroyed by Tracer. This is easily an 8-2 matchup. She struggles with the same problems that Mei does. You can't really left click her down unless you're in a very narrow area, and hopefully she dies fast enough to her low HP, but you're never really going to hold her down. The turrets are helpful, and they can catch a Tracer off guard if she's not paying attention. And if you land a good right click, boom, she loses 2/3 of her HP. But overall, Tracer should almost never lose this matchup. She does have a small fighting chance, so I would give this more of an 8-2. Now, Torbjorn is kind of a tough situation. If he has his turret, yes, Tracer gets whittled down, but that is nothing I really want to consider a factor here. does Tracer versus Torbjorn straight up go a certain way? I would say this is 6-4 in Tracer's favor. She can easily land good headshots, and if she gets close range, she's very effective. Of course, if Torbjorn lands a good headshot with the left click, or if he right clicks, he can kill her, and that's why I have the margin closer to a 5-5. But there you go. It's definitely in Tracer's favor. She's just overall a better burster and duelist in that situation. If he has armor, it might make it a 5-5, but still, even then, she'll generally win up that matchup. Of course, unless he's in Molten Core, but not a lot of people can beat him in that phase. So Widow and Tracer constantly having their rivalry, as they always do, is generally in Tracer's favor if, and only if, it's somewhere that Tracer can get to. You want to be in a close matchup. If you're a poison, then you probably are going to lose just to a left click battle, but if you get close enough, you can quickly burst down Widowmaker before she can jump away. I would say it's a 7-3 matchup in Tracer's favor just for combat stats. But if Tracer can't get to where Widowmaker is and it becomes a long range battle, Tracer's long range is not a lot of damage and it's just something sometimes people do to harass, then it's instantly a losing fight. It swaps quickly to a 9-1 favor for Widowmaker because one shot with a headshot or two shots with sniper wins her that fight. Even though Widowmaker still was nerfed, it would probably be a 10-0 if it's a place Tracer can't get to, but Tracer can now barely survive in that matchup. So depending on where Widowmaker is, I would say 9-1. There you go, 9-1 Widowmaker if she's far away. The monkey is a frustrating character for Tracer. This guy can do a lot of damage. If he lands on top of Tracer, he'll do a third of her HP, and if he does a good melee while charging in on her, then he'll win. I put this matchup as a 6-4 just overall. If Tracer sees him coming or jumps away quick enough, boom, she can get out of his lightning range. He's not as effective, and she'll just whittle him down because he has such a big head for his hitbox, so you can quickly just headshot him down. So he can't really win that matchup. However, if there's two Winstons, Tracer just loses, but I'm talking about a one-on-one situation here. Generally, Tracer can effectively keep her distance, stay in that mid-range, or even somewhat long range because he's a bigger target. You can still effectively take him down. Coming down to our last two characters, I would like to start with Zarya. Zarya is one of the most effective. It's one of the few tanks that Tracer actually struggles with, similar to what Winston is that she has a shield, and the uniqueness of her shield, she has a lot of AoE, her laser pinpoint. You can just aim and just overall do effective small AoE damage, which is quite good against Tracer, especially if you're getting your shield built up. But comparatively to someone like Reaper, who pops Zarya's shield in one shot, Zarya gets the full effectiveness of her shield. Tracer can't burst it as quickly as, let's say, a Reaper or someone who has a big, powerful one-hit shot. So she can't just take that shield down and try and burst the Zarya down. The Zarya will have the full effectiveness of shield, lives a little bit longer, and can do enough damage to burst down that Tracer. So overall, I find that this match is to be 7-3 in Zarya's favor in most situations. For our final matchup between characters, it is Zenyatta, the king of all. He is the holy monk of robots. It is a 7-3 matchup for Tracer, and the reason I say that is because if she is discorded, or if she's not discorded, a good headshot or two headshots, or if she's discorded, a headshot with a melee will instantaneously kill her. She does want to go in the close range, mid range. He actually does have a small fighting chance. You just want to rush in there, burst him down, and melee him. Just hopefully you're not unlucky that he gets a stray headshot in the middle of the combat. But overall, Tracer wins those fights, especially if the Zenyatta is unprepared. So that is the gist of that matchup. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the matchup rundowns from my point of view of all the characters that face against Tracer. And hopefully if you do play Tracer like I do and really like her, this can help you determine when you want to pick her, or what you're facing, or which targets to hunt down, or hey, maybe I want to fight in the mid-range, long range, or close range overall. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you all later.